Thanks for watching this portion of Garage Logic today on our YouTube channel, and hit the subscribe button if you wouldn't mind. And also thanks to our friends at Everest Men's Health for sponsoring this. Go to everestmenshealth.com today to see if they can help you with better energy and better health. And catch the Garage Logic podcast wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
You'll recall that we really spent a lot of time Friday discussing the behavior of a Minneapolis police officer who arrested with force a black shopper at an Aldi store in Minneapolis.
Yep.
And this note is from a fellow who says, "Don't use my name. I roll my eyes a bit when I hear about police misconduct, and I tend to follow the 72-hour rule, even with video. I worked as a licensed peace officer for 5 years in Hennepin County before I made my break away from the country's tallest buildings. My time working with Minneapolis Police Department officers was extensive, and as a group, I found them under extreme stress. Most handled it as good as one can. That scene, I've also seen the culture problem with the PD. It has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with respect, attitude, and professionalism. I've seen it firsthand, and while it's a few that spoil the soup, it's been a long-standing issue and needs to be corrected. As a peace officer, we sometimes have to take aggressive, fast-moving action to protect ourselves or others from harm. This decision is based on a multitude of things, including training, experience, the situation, and the ability, just to name a few. In this case, I honestly can't say yet. The video starts too late in the scenario for me to get an idea of what the officer was seeing that caused him to make that decision." Well, I think I said vaguely the same thing on Friday.
You did.
"What I did see was this," he notes. "An officer boxed in on three sides with a wall behind him. Cell phone cameras in his face and people yelling at him. When he asked if he had paid, I'm guessing he was wanting to make sure that he could take his groceries with him when he told him he was out. I wonder if his original intention was to toss him like a bouncer at the saloon. I did not see a camera on the officer, guessing they can't use them when working off duty. They may need to change that policy. I wish he had one so we could have seen the whole thing. Long way of saying, I don't know. Hopefully there will be more security cameras to help one way or another, but as I've learned the last few years of my law enforcement career, facts don't seem to matter for cops. Mob rules. If he was wrong, he needs to be held accountable. If he was justified, we need to recognize that too. I have been a use of force trainer for over 12 years, and I've always held us, law enforcement, to a much higher standard than the general public. We, law enforcement, owe that to the community we serve because they have given us a lot of trust. We make mistakes. We are human, and we should be held accountable. If we are bad cops, we should find other work. If we make a poor decision, we should be punished and trained better. That brings me to the Daunte Wright trial. I make no claims of understanding this case other than this. If Potter signed on at work that morning and planned to go kill someone, lock her up. If she made a horrible mistake that day and she has lost her job and will be held civilly liable, I agree. If society decides that officers are to be put in jail for the unintentional mistakes we make, society will get the officers they deserve, and one would have to question their mindsets when they take the job. I love my work. I hate the environment and the political nature of it now, and I can only hope to make it to retirement unless things even out. If you use this, please stop reading here. All right, I did. Then he tells me who he is. He tells me who he is.
That's a great email.
Well, and I just want to finish that with a letter to the editor today in the Star Tribune regarding the Kim Potter trial, which I think we should follow and have our friend Peter Wohl, the defense attorney, on, and because this has all the makings of developing a George Floyd theater ambiance. Oh. Lead letter to the editor today in the Star Tribune. I read with interest, Daunte Wright's family calls for accountability come verdict day, front page November 30. While it tells a very important story, it shows significant bias, in my opinion, and lacks journalistic balance. There are multiple examples to address here, but I will focus on just one in the interest of space. The story quotes Courtney Ross as saying, "The fact that Kim Potter brandished a weapon for a routine traffic stop when the entire world was looking at racist cops under a microscope proved to me that Kim Potter was so brash and brazen that she murdered a black man with no thought." While I deeply sympathize with Ross for the loss of her brutally murdered boyfriend, George Floyd, this is a very unfair and inflammatory statement on her part. First of all, it is factually inaccurate. Only when it became a situation of someone with a warrant for their arrest attempting to resist and flee did Potter make the decision to tase Wright. For any reasonable person who has watched the body camera video and read accounts of her reactions after the video concluded, it is unambiguously obvious that Potter intended to tase Wright rather than shoot him, and that she was highly distraught when she realized what she had done in error. It is clear there is widespread belief in the legal community, including the relevant county attorneys, that first-degree manslaughter is too serious a charge in this case. However, Attorney General Keith Ellison did bring this charge. Even Ellison could not find justification in bringing a murder charge against Potter, yet Ross uses the term murder freely in the above quote. My primary concern here is that the Star Tribune published this quote with no critical context or qualification. It is presented as unchallenged, defining perspective. Later in the story, a quote from one of Potter's defense attorneys is provided. An accident is not a crime. However, this is quickly dismissed as a viable perspective, using a quote from Ross referencing that in all her years in education, she never mistook a sticker for a stapler.
Oh, God.
The grief of the Wright family is clearly immense and needs to be acknowledged. However, in the interest of fairness, this case warrants media coverage using the highest journalistic standards possible. In my opinion, this article fell well short of such standards. This issue raised above is only one of multiple problematic examples of bias in it that could be examined. Peter Langworthy, St. Paul, and he is absolutely correct.
How come they never respond to letters like this?
Who?
The Star Tribune.
They did. They wrote the they printed the letter.
That's not good enough for me.
No, I understand. But what we've learned in GL over the last few years is how it can be terribly burdensome to sort out everything and come up with the right answers.
Mm-hmm. But
and that Potter trial will demand that of us.
It's their job to do what Peter Langworthy pointed out they didn't do.
Right. I agree.
They know it's their job, and as far as I'm concerned, they knowingly did that on purpose, trying to get away with it.
Were you going to say something, Johnny?
No.
Oh, when you first said that, Joe, weeks ago, I didn't believe you.
What I said, what?
When you said that this trial will turn into the George Floyd, I didn't believe you. I now do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, of course. They've got this kid on a pedestal.
Because I keep making the assumption that enough rational people are out there, but there just aren't enough.
Go back to the law enforcement officer who doesn't want to be named, but I have no doubt at all that he's a legit guy. He gives me his name and where he works, and okay. It's not race that concerns cops. It's respect and professionalism,
behavior,
and it's behavior.
Yes.
Daunte Wright would be alive today if he merely did what was asked of him. He would be alive. And now you've got the Star Tribune giving more weight to the presence of George Floyd's girlfriend, who suddenly intertwined herself with the Daunte Wright family to create this imagery of this, again, was a murder. It wasn't a murder. It was not a murder. And we don't know a damn thing about Kim Potter when it comes to race. We have no idea. She's, what 26 years on the force?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. What is Ellison doing, charging her with first-degree manslaughter, when he knows that it wasn't?
Right.
What's he trying to get away with?
The prosecution of a white police officer who made a horrible mistake.
And said so instantly.
Yeah.
Right away.
She was
On the body cam.
completely distraught. Oh, my God, I shot him. Oh, my God, I shot him. You want to have Johnny Height join us?
With more uplifting news?
Some good stuff coming up here from Johnny Height.
Okay.
I'll try to do a little more, up tempo.